Does the streak end tonight?
I don't think so. There are reasons you might want to be nervous, Stephen A. I'll leave that to you. But I don't think the streak ends tonight. Look, right now, Boston has been amazing defensively through a lot of this run, particularly off the bench. I criticized the bench about a week or two ago, saying that Celtics are a little thin. If you look at the roster, they had to give up some depth to get Kyrie, but the bench was playing out. I was thinking about their offense. The bench was playing outstanding defense. So outstanding, I also said maybe that's unsustainable. Maybe they're going to have to, as I say, regress to the mean, get back to normal. When has a second unit played defense like that throughout the course of a whole season? It would be highly unusual, maybe unprecedented. And sure enough, against Dallas in the last game, they had defensive problems. And they had to come back on Dallas. And so Miami on the road, you can see the danger, except Stephen A. It's a bad matchup for Miami in this sense. Miami, a sub-500 team, is that way, I think, largely because they fade in the second half. They're a bad second-half team. And the matchup, it's like styles make fights. The matchup is a bad one because they're going up against the Celtics, particularly Kyrie Irving, in the fourth quarter, loses his ever-loving mind. We all knew, and I knew, even as I was critical of Kyrie or questioning Kyrie in terms of if he could lead a team as the best player on a team, in a winning situation. Could he lead them to wins, not just look great and close the show for LeBron? So even as I was critical of him that way, I had to acknowledge this guy is clutch by any definite standard, any definition of the word. When it matters most, or when he's under pressure, late, fourth quarter, big game, Kyrie loses his mind. Now, if you're Miami, maybe you think, make Kyrie beat us. Don't let him beat us as a team. Make Kyrie beat us. The thing about Kyrie, though, is he's a lot like Kobe Bryant this way. That's the proper game plan. Hey, if he's taking all the shots, they're not functioning as well as a team, great, we're doing what we're supposed to do defensively. And he'll beat you anyway, like Kobe. You could do everything right against Kobe, and it could still come out wrong because he could beat you anyway. So, and I think that's what's going to happen. I anticipate the Celtics will struggle, as they did against the Mavericks. All those things that I just mentioned. But when push comes to shove, you give me a bad second-half team against a team with Kyrie, who's been losing his mind in the fourth quarter, even more than he normally does. And I like the team with Kyrie losing his mind in the fourth quarter with something to play for, by the way. I like the Celtics to escape a tough one in Miami.
I can't knock you for that thinking, Max Kellerman, but I must confess, tonight it's emotional, but I'm kind of leaning towards Miami on this. I think if this streak is going to end, it's going to be tonight. I could see, Boston winning the next 3 games after the Indiana, Detroit, and I forgot what the third one was. But Miami is my sleeper. Let me explain something. Let me explain what I think about Miami. Miami's one of those teams that's young. As the season wanes, they get more hyped when there's more to play for. There are moments, they're not mature yet, there are moments, there are nuggets within a season where they'll get up for a particular game. They're long, they can be athletic, their shooting needs to be better. Hassan Whiteside has missed 5 games already this year, okay? He's averaging 16 and 13, all right? We know how formidable he is, particularly on the defensive side of the ball because of how big this dude is. These are some guys, I'm telling you, I've been saying this since the offseason. If you remember, Miami's my sleeper. They'll lose to Washington, turn around the next night and beat Washington. It's all about how badly they want to play. They're athletic. They get after it. They defend. I'm a fan of Josh Richardson. Justice Winslow is another defender. James Jones can't be ignored. Goran Dragic's averaging about 18 points a game. They're the kind of team, Max, where on a normal night, Boston might run them out the building. But because Boston's on this 16-game winning streak, because the eyes of the basketball world are on Kyrie and Brad Stevens and what's going on in Boston, they play in this game. Miami's a kind of team with a bunch of young dudes that'll get after it because they want moments like this, because they view it as an opportunity to be recognized for what they have. To me, the biggest mistake when I think about Dwayne Wade leaving Miami is that if Dwayne Wade were in Miami instead of Chicago last year, not only would Miami have been in the playoffs instead of Chicago, I think Boston might have beaten Miami in the first round instead of Chicago losing to Boston once Rondo went down. So I just look at Miami. They've got about 7 dudes averaging
Wait, who
better
would
than
you're
20.
saying? Wait, you said Boston would have beaten Miami, or Miami would have beaten Boston in the first round?
Miami would have beat Boston in the first round last year, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
All right? When Chicago had them in trouble, if Miami had Wade, they would have been in the playoffs instead of Chicago, they would have beaten Miami. So what I'm saying to you is they got 7 dudes. They got 7 dudes, Max, averaging better than 23 minutes a game, and another 2 averaging better than 17. They can go 9 deep. They can defend, they can rebound, they can get after it. It's all about which Miami team is going to show up tonight. And I think they got it. I'm going to go with Miami to knock off Boston tonight.